here, House Minority Whip, Congressman Steve Scalise of Louisiana. Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Good afternoon, Martha. Good to be with you.
So your thoughts on the status of this effort to subpoena the full report from Robert Mueller? You see that the shoe goes on everybody's, on the other foot politically on these things often, as we have just demonstrated. Where do you stand on this tonight?
Well, Martha, I think if you before the politics came in, everybody, Republican and Democrat, wanted the report to be made available in full compliance with law. And here's where you're seeing Democrats break, where they're trying to say, oh, well, now we want stuff that's not even legally allowed to be displayed, because what the real bottom line is, they said for over 2 years there was going to be collusion with Russia. There was all this collusion. By the way, when we're talking about releasing things, why doesn't Adam Schiff release the more than circumstantial evidence that he's claimed for years he had? I guess he's got some secret information Mueller doesn't even have. He ought to release that. So until maybe they ask every American to get a paperback novel mailed to their house of this report, they're going to try to make some kind of other political distraction to change the fact that they promised the American people for 2 years that there was this collusion. They smeared the president, they smeared family members of his, and it didn't turn out to be the case. And so now, instead of admitting they were wrong, admitting they misled the American people for 2 years, they're going to try to create some other distraction to change the subject. We should be focused on the bad apples at the FBI who were part of this investigation from the beginning, who had a political agenda. We know what happened. We don't know how many and how deep it ran. I want to see all that cleaned up so we restore the good name of the FBI. And all these people that promised there was all these things like collusion with the president, that never was the case. They owe the American people an apology.
I want to show you a poll that came out. This is an NBC Wall Street Journal poll. Does the report clear President Trump of wrongdoing? And it lines up with a poll that we showed last week as well. It does clear President Trump, 29%. Does not clear President Trump, comes in at 40%. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's not surprising, considering for the last 2 years you've seen every Democrat in Congress and, of course, the entire mainstream media going with this false narrative that there was collusion. When the report finally comes out in its form that legally the law allows, it's going to show what we've seen in the summary. No new indictments, no collusion, which there never was, but they promised it. And so maybe then the American people will see the full picture. But the bottom line is people didn't elect this majority, Nancy Pelosi, to be Speaker, to keep harassing the president and his family for 2 years. They were supposed to be focusing on the problems of everyday Americans. We, by the way, are not only focusing on getting the economy back, helping increase wages for families, lowering health care costs, but also standing up for the lives of unborn babies born alive, Martha. We've seen it now in states like New York, the governor of Virginia, trying to make it legal to murder a baby after it's born alive. This isn't even part of the abortion debate, and yet they want to allow that to happen. And right now, almost in half the states in this country, babies don't have legal protection under the law if they're born alive. We want to give the babies those protections. We have the Born Alive Act, Ann Wagner's bill. We're going to be bringing a discharge petition starting tomorrow to bring this bill to the floor. Let's have a debate. I think the vast majority, not only of Republicans and Democrats, people who are even pro-choice think it's wrong to murder a baby once it's born alive, yet they won't even allow that vote right now.
All right, so tell me about that, and I wanted to ask you about this. Who is holding back the vote on this, and why?
Nancy Pelosi, because part of their radical agenda, look, I mean, again, this is even beyond the abortion debate, but how radical is it that you think it's okay if a baby is born alive outside the womb to still kill it? Yet in states, more and more states, they're looking at bringing this process to make it legal.
But why is Nancy Pelosi withholding? You say everybody, even people who are pro-choice, are in favor of this. So why is she not allowing a vote on this? Where does she stand on this bill? And what would she say about why she is not supporting it?
Well, clearly she's okay with those babies being killed after they're born alive. I can't explain it. I think it's murder. Most Americans do, by the way. They're shocked that we need a bill to actually protect those babies born alive. Yet you're seeing now in states like New York, the governor of Virginia literally describing this gruesome process and saying it should be okay. And it's not okay. And so if Nancy Pelosi wants to block it, I think she's way out of step with America on this. We're going to keep pushing this issue.
Well, we'd love to hear from her, why she's not bringing it forward and what her thinking is on it. Steve Scalise, thank you very much. Good to see you, sir. Great to have you here tonight.
It's always great being with you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Actually. All right, let's talk about the Mueller report, the fallout. Your team obviously has worked very hard in terms of coming out and communicating what they did on the left to set up Donald Trump. Attorney General William Barr now planning to release the full report to Congress by mid-April. This comes as a new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll shows that the report has left fewer Americans with doubt about President Trump and his presidency. 57% of respondents said that the special counsel's investigation left them with no additional doubts, up 10% from February. Yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham and former House Oversight Committee Chairman and Fox News contributor Trey Gowdy weighed in on all of the fallout. I want to get your reaction. Watch this.
My job is to find out how the system got off track, to provide oversight. Do we need to rewrite the FISA laws to make sure this never happens again? Do we need to have congressional rules about counterintelligence investigations of presidential campaigns? But somebody needs to look at the behavior and see if they violated the law. Like Mueller looked at the Trump campaign extensively. Nobody has taken a look at the other side.
Have you ever seen anything like that? 9 Republicans are asking the chairman to step down. What is your reaction to Adam Schiff's behavior?
We had a lot of bad days the 8 years I was in Congress, but we never voted to remove or ask a chairperson to step down. Adam is a deeply partisan person. He did everything he could to make sure that Hillary Clinton became the next president, and he's done everything he could since he failed at that to keep a cloud over the Trump presidency. These are reasonable Republicans, all of whom unanimously said, Adam, we've lost confidence in your ability to lead.
And your leadership in the minority, Congressman, has been important in terms of getting this story out and making sure the American people understand what took place. Your reaction to all of this?
Well, the reason why you see that drop, that people no longer have doubt, is because Mueller was unlimited in his resources.
Right.
2,800 subpoenas, 40 FBI agents, 19 attorneys, 13 foreign countries going to, 22 months, $25 million. There was no stone unturned, and he said no collusion. But what's happening in one of the committees that we know, the Intel Committee, this is where Adam Schiff, for 2 years, said he had proof. He told the American public he had proof up until the same month the report came out. It's very telling that you have every single Republican on that committee said they have lost confidence in you. But he continued. He did not apologize. He actually challenged and went after the other members. This is an individual. How can you trust anything coming out of this committee? But what's fearful to me is this committee is there to protect America. And for him to sit there and lie about what he knows and not tell the American public and try to put fear into individuals, we have watched this in our history before, and we made a promise we'd never allow this to go forward. Nancy Pelosi could remove him from chair because we see that he will not. He won't even apologize for the lies that he has made. No president should have to go through this again. We should make sure that this never happens. Republican, Democrat, Green Party, anybody going forward has to go through what we just watched.
How do you do that? Because, next steps are important. I mean, people want to see that they can trust the FBI, trust the DOJ again.
They want to see that they can trust their own election. Democrats didn't even celebrate. The Russians tried. They couldn't get there. They didn't celebrate that the election was true. What they disliked this president so much. When you come to Chairman Nadler, he wanted to impeach this president the day the election happened. They need to move past it. Put America first. But we are watching what's going on, and it's appalling. You have Congressman Cummings going back 10 years. The president wasn't even running for office. I want all your business, any of your business activity for 10 years. Nobody else would have to go through this.
Well, we'll be watching. Congressman, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.